Hey everyone, Mary here from Ross IELTS Academy. Today I want to talk to you about the latest IELTS speaking questions. It's always a good idea to practice different questions and topics before the test, but I know some of you might be worried about not having a wide range of vocabulary. Don't sweat it. Many candidates share the same concern when it comes to speaking. The truth is, not everyone has a massive vocabulary to talk about every familiar or unfamiliar topic. And guess what? That's totally fine. You don't need to know everything to answer the questions. What you really need are some effective strategies. So, let's get started, shall we? Today we will look at some of the latest Part 1 IELTS speaking questions, and I will share my own answers with you. After that, I will explain why I responded the way I did, based on the IELTS criteria. Sounds good, right? Let's dive in and have some fun. Okay then, here we are in the first part of IELTS speaking, and the topic today is about work. First, we have some questions, so I read them, then I answer the questions, and after that I analyze my own answers. Now we just get started with the questions only. The first one says, do you work or are you a student? The next one says, what are your responsibilities at work? Do you enjoy your job? How many hours do you typically work in a week? Do you prefer to work alone or in a team? And have you ever had a part-time job? Now let's get started with the first question. I answer the question. Here we go. The question was, do you work or are you a student? My response to this one is, I work as an IELTS instructor at a language institute. I help students prepare for the IELTS exam and provide guidance on improving their English language skills, which is something I enjoy a lot. So as you can see, I try to explain about my job because maybe my only answer was that I'm an IELTS instructor, but this is definitely not sufficient in IELTS speaking, especially in part 1. So I explained a little about my responsibilities, but I didn't get into detail because this is part 1 again. You cannot explain too much. The second question says, what are your responsibilities at work? My answer to this one is, as an IELTS instructor, my responsibilities include conducting classes, developing lesson plans, assessing students' language level, providing feedback on their performance, and guiding them in specific exam strategies for the different sections of the IELTS test. So here again, I explained more and I gave some examples of the responsibilities I have at work. I also use the term conducting classes, which means to hold classes. As a teacher, you conduct classes, and as a student, you take some classes. Now the third question. Do you enjoy your job? My answer to this one is absolutely. I thoroughly enjoy my job as an IELTS instructor. It's incredibly rewarding to witness students' progress and see them achieve their desired scores. Plus, I find great satisfaction in helping individuals improve their language skills and achieve their goals. So as you see here again, I try to give some reasons and explain why I enjoy my job. First of all, I use the word thoroughly, which means completely, and then the word rewarding, which means fulfilling. So other than using a range of collocations and vocabulary and maybe some idioms, it's important to paraphrase, which means to use some direct synonyms. And I try to do it in the first sentence of my answer. Apart from that, I use the word plus, which is used to add more information. For example, you can say plus, moreover, in addition. Now the next question. How many hours do you typically work in a week? My answer to this question is, I usually work around 25 to 35 hours per week as an IELTS instructor. This includes classroom teaching, lesson preparation, and providing individualized feedback to students. So here again, I gave the answer. I explained how many hours I work every week. but then I added another sentence because otherwise my answer would have been too short. The next question was asking, do you prefer to work alone or in a team? My answer to this question is, as an IELTS instructor, I appreciate a balance of both. While I spend a significant amount of time teaching and guiding students individually, I also value collaborating with my colleagues to share ideas, discuss teaching strategies, and stay updated on the latest developments in language learning and test preparation. So here the question was asking whether I prefer to work alone or with other people. And I try to give more explanation by faking my answer. Because, the balance is having them both, and I explained in the beginning, but maybe my own preference is working alone. But as I could explain more about working with people and working alone at the same time, I try to give this answer. So it doesn't really matter what your real idea is or what you really think of the question. You just need to give the answer that makes better sense and that can bring you better ideas. In order to give a good answer, I use the words like a significant amount of time, which means a lot of time. Or to stay updated, which means you are aware of the latest information about something. I use the word also, which is used to add more information. The next question is asking, have you ever had a part-time job? My answer is, before becoming an IELTS instructor, I had a part-time job as a tutor, where I assisted students with their English language skills. This experience allowed me to develop my teaching abilities and sparked my passion for helping others succeed in language learning. So here again, I talked about my previous part-time job, and I used some words like, for example, to develop teaching abilities. It means to improve them. It sparked my passion, which means it awakened my passion. So generally speaking, in IELTS, especially in the first part, you always need to explain about your answers. You just don't give a one-word or one-sentence answer. And you can use a range of collocations or some idioms, some complex grammatical structures, and of course some connectives. This is how you can get a good score. Fantastic. Just as we did today, you can search for speaking questions, share your own answers, record your responses, and then listen to them. If you're interested in receiving an evaluation from our expert examiners, go ahead and book an online speaking mock test with us. Believe me, this will make a big difference. Wishing you best of luck and looking forward to seeing you. Stay tuned.